You may be shocked by the cost considering the Aero's 4 Kelvin display and Intel Center i7 processor. You'll just need to lay out $1,799 for this apparatus in the US, and in Europe it's €1,999. Cost stays enticing. It's more costly in the UK, at £2,399, however that actually contrasts well, and Apple's notebooks. Now is the right time to see whether the Gigabyte Aero 16 XE5 can upgrade the Macintosh MacBook Pro 16 and become a top imaginative decision, and in the event that it can procure a spot on our best workstations outline. Design and keyboard. A gorgeous, strong machine. A heavenly keyboard and trackpad. A lot of missing highlights frustrate the Gigabyte's flexibility. The Gigabyte Aero 16 XE5 appears as though it ought to stand head-to-head with Macintosh's PCs. It's produced using CNC-processed aluminum compound in a similar shade as a MacBook, and Gigabyte's design has some slick contact. A protruding lip makes the cover simple to open. The processed speaker grills look perfect, and the display has little bezel. The screen and base are strong. As well, it's a hardy apparatus. It's additionally a great ergonomic entertainer. The depressed keyboard has heaps of movement, and the buttons are enormous, fresh, quick and hardy. They provide a heavenly composing experience. The buttons aren't clearly, they're illuminated, and they have an unmistakable textual style. There could be no number cushion, yet that is generally typical, and this keyboard is similarly basically as great as anything you'll find on a MacBook. The trackpad is comparable. It's huge and responsive, and has 2 of the quickest and most fulfilling buttons I've at any point utilized in a PC cushion. It's not situated excessively far to one side, all things considered. In certain offices, however, the Gigabyte isn't exactly essentially as smooth as the PCs that rise up out of Cupertino. There are such a large number of noticeable creases and screws. At 2.3 kilograms on the scales, and 22.4 millimeters thick, the Aero is heavier and bigger than its key rivalry. The Aero's network could be better as well. Emphatically, the Aero has 2 Thunderclap 4 ports and a sole USB 3.2 Gen 2 Sort C association. Its average 720p webcam upholds Windows High, and inside you get double-band Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2 close by security from TPM 2.0. There's bounty missing. There's no card peruser or HDMI yield, and no finger impression peruser. There are no standard USB ports, and no wired web on the actual PC. Gigabyte attempts to tackle this issue by remembering a port center for the case. It joins to one of the Thunderclap or USB-C ports and adds HDMI, smaller than expected DisplayPort, standard size USB and Gigabit Ethernet. Yet, it ungracefully protrudes from the side of the PC. Its USB port tops at a drowsy 5 Gbps, and the HDMI and DisplayPort associations don't work at the same time. Apple's machine doesn't have standard size USB ports either, and you don't get a center point. Yet it incorporates 3 Thunderclap 4 attachments close by a SD card peruser and HDMI yield. It has a superior 1080p webcam, and Apple's intense speakers are miles in front of the metallic stuff inside the Aero. A few of these oversights stay disheartening regardless of the Gigabyte's generally low cost. Macintosh's entrance-level MacBook Pro 16 might be pricier. At $2,499 divided by £2,399 divided by €2,749. However, the expense merits paying in the event that you get a sleek, lighter and more flexible PC. Screen. Inconceivable AMOLED quality offers accurate varieties, high resolution and 16:10 angle proportion. The 60Hz refresh rate is fine, yet not great for gaming. The Gigabyte Aero 16 XE5 makes progress in the display office. The 16 inches AMOLED board has a resolution of 3840x2400 thanks to its 16:10 perspective proportion, and it's been approved by Pantone. It's an incredible beginning. That resolution even beats the MacBook. Quality levels are eminent as well. The AMOLED equipment implies you get wonderful dark levels and limitless difference, and the delta E of 1.87 and variety temperature of 591 Kelvin are outstanding outcomes that assure close faultless tones. The display renders 100% of the sRGB range, 95.8% of the Adobe RGB space, and 98.6% of the DCI-P3 range. And each of the 3 figures are sufficiently high to empower productivity in those conditions. This screen has the clout to handle any innovative errand, and you get a smidgen more subtlety and profundity than with the Apple Notebook scaled-down Drove equipment. The main other display I've seen as of late come close is the OLED board inside, the Asus ZenBook Pro 16X OLED, and that apparatus is undeniably more costly. The Gigabyte's board just falls behind in minor regions. The most extreme brilliance of 397 nits is sufficient for indoor and open-air use. However, the MacBook's screen is a piece more splendid. And keeping in mind that its refresh rate of 60 Hz is fine for regular use, it limits gaming potential and falls behind the smoother movement provided by Apple's 120 Hz versatile rate. Neither one of the issues is a deal-breaker for imaginative jobs. Execution: Intel Center i7-12700H computer processor. An RTX 3070 Ti convey adequate power. Reliably one of the coolest and calmest top-of-the-line workstations around. The processor doesn't generally run at maximum speed. Nothing unexpected. Intel's Center i7-12700H continues to show up in top-of-the-line PCs. It has 6 multi-strung execution centers that top at 4.7 GHz. NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3070 Ti is similarly as amazing thanks to 8 GB of devoted memory, and it sends 5,888 of NVIDIA's Ampere centers. Two 1TB Gigabyte SSDs consolidate to convey 2 TB of stockpiling. And they're back in composed paces of 785 MB per second and 5 MB per second are fantastic, effectively quickly enough for any imaginative responsibility. The main determination stumble is the incorporation of 16 GB of DDR5 memory. That is fine for most innovative jobs, yet 32 GB is better for harder programming. The memory is upgradable, albeit 12 Torx fastens hold the base spot, so it's very interesting to get to the internals. However, there's no deficiency of force before you tinker with memory redesigns. The Gigabyte's Geekbench scores of 1722 and 11,112 are perfect, and they mean you have sufficient capacity to handle photograph altering, video delivering, and other innovative jobs. Its Cinebench R23 consequence of 12,938 is heavenly, as well, and better than Apple's M1 Pro and Max processors that can assist with establishing a quiet and focused workplace. However, the Aero's warm prowess implies that the Center i7 processor can't generally extend its legs. The Center i7-12700H can score in excess of 12,000 places in Geekbench, for example, and its PC Mark X After Effect of 6,807 likewise doesn't exactly match this computer processor's expected speed. It's a comparative story on the illustrations side. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 Ti doesn't run at its full power here, and its 3D Mark times by consequence of 9019 is unassuming when contrasted with the GPU somewhere else. However, that is not a calamity. Past the warm advantages, the RTX 3070 Ti has sufficient power for any inventive undertaking, and it's miles better than the GPUs inside MacBooks. Battery: take care of the equipment and you'll get past until noon with this PC. Push the parts, however, and it'll hit a wall rapidly. The Gigabyte Aero 16 XE5 battery isn't awesome. By the same token, in a regular work test with the display at 150 nits, the Gigabyte went on for 3 HRS in 3 minutes, and its best outcome arrived in a video playback test. The Aero went on for 5 HRS 31 minutes. In a gaming test, the Gigabyte just dealt with 78 minutes of playback. Finally, thanks for watching this video. See you again next time.